Justice, Mainstream and Cross Currents, Chapter 14, Juvenile Justice. This is a narrated version of this PowerPoint presentation. Juvenile justice. One of the most stable features of crime is that much of it is committed by youths. The handling of juvenile delinquents is often punitive. In many ways, juveniles receive the worst of both the criminal justice and the juvenile justice systems. Childhood and the law. Factors that improve the status of children include increased availability of education, poor laws, chancery courts, and parens patriae. Use in the early United States. In colonial America, little distinction was made between the offenses committed by adults and those committed by children. Parents were responsible for the actions of their children. House of Refuge. The first House of Refuge was established in New York City in 1825. Often employed the practice of placing out, in which boys were sent to work on farms or sea vessels, and girls were sent to homes of wealthy women to serve and learn. Abandoned by the end of the 19th century in favor of newer reforms. The juvenile court system. The major differences between modern criminal courts and juvenile courts are focus on rehabilitation, informal hearing, individualized justice, and private hearings. The modern juvenile justice system includes entering the juvenile justice system, pre-hearing detention, intake, diversion, determining jurisdiction, adjudicatory hearing, disposition, and aftercare. Who enters the juvenile justice system? Incorrigible youths, dependent youths, neglected youths, status offenders, and delinquent youths. Figure 14.1 shows the number of property and violent offenses cleared by arrest or exceptional means involving persons under 18 years of age, and it's taken from your textbook. Entry into the juvenile justice system. Cases are inserted into the system by a process called referral. It can come from schools, parents, or child welfare agencies. It can also come from law enforcement agencies. Figure 14.2, taken from your textbook, shows police disposition of juveniles taken into custody in 2011. Entering the juvenile justice system, the pre-hearing detention. Law enforcement agencies are discouraged from holding juvenile delinquents in adult jails while the case is being processed. Intake is a major gatekeeping decision point, a finding by the intake officer that the sufficient reason exists to pass the case forward is enough to keep the case under the purview of the court. Determining jurisdiction. The states have a variety of mechanisms for deciding whether to keep the case in juvenile court or to transfer it to the adult court system. An adjudicatory hearing can take place that will include held to determine whether the juvenile committed the offenses, the equivalent of a criminal trial, and it's conducted by a judge who also acts as the jury. The disposition phase is comparable to the handing down of the sentence in the adult court. The disposition can take two paths: residential placement or non-residential referment. Aftercare may include drug or alcohol treatment, counseling, attending school, or employment. Figure 14.3, taken from your textbook, shows the juvenile justice system case flow and includes the terminology that is different from that of the adult system. Issues in juvenile justice: chronic offenders, youth gangs, conditions of youth confinement, juvenile waiver to the adult court system, and zero tolerance policies. Chronic offenders. A small percentage of youths are long-term, chronic, consistent lawbreakers. Research shows these youths share factors such as behavior problems, poor grades, drug or alcohol use, family problems, abuse or neglect, and patterns of stealing or running away. Youth gangs. Membership in a youth gang is a predictor of chronic delinquency. Race is a dimension of many gangs, and females are also active in gangs. Conditions of youth confinement include adult prisons, ranches and camps, boot camp prisons, and traditional training schools. Figure 14.4, taken from your textbook, shows juveniles in residential placement by age in the year 2010 and is broken down by age on the left-hand side and number of youths on the right-hand side. A juvenile waiver is also called a judicial waiver. A judge sends the juvenile to the adult court. Direct filing: a prosecutor may file charges in either the juvenile or adult court, and statutory exclusion automatically excludes some juveniles from the juvenile court. Zero tolerance policies in which the strict letter of the law or rule is followed without question or room for individual discretion on the part of the authority. The future of the juvenile justice system: resources will be diverted from programs that serve young people to programs that serve the elderly. Programs for children will continue to become privatized. The juvenile justice system will continue to transfer young offenders to criminal courts, adult criminal courts, and the age of dependency will continue to increase. Technology can level the playing field. Trends suggest that the juvenile justice system may be shifting its emphasis away from the punish or treat dichotomy. Questions we might ask after reading this chapter: what are the major differences between the criminal court and the juvenile court? Who enters the juvenile justice system? And what is the predictor of chronic delinquency? That ends this narrated version of this PowerPoint presentation.